Hello, this video is going to go over my strand project. And my section is numbers and operations. That's just the rubric. But my standard is the students will add and subtract decimals and solve single step and multi-step practical problems involving addition and subtraction with decimals. And this is the 4.6 SOL for 4th grade. This is my concept map that breaks down my SOL. And then I have my unpacking the standards, part A and part B, which breaks the standard down and it tells you what the students will need to know and what they already know in order to better create a lesson plan that will help meet the needs of the students. This is a folder game. It's a remediation game. And this is going to help the students practice reversing fractions into decimal numbers. And the game will have 3 dice. The red dice will represent the tenths, the white will represent the hundredths, and the green will represent the thousandths place. And what they'll do is they'll roll each of the dice and write the numbers in the sections on the sheet. And then when they're done, they're going to roll the tenths place and the hundredths place dice, and they're going to write the fraction out in these boxes for each roll. When they're done with that, they'll move to the bottom, and that is where they will put the decimal numbers in order from least to greatest, because part of the SOL that they're meeting for this lesson was that they're able to work with fractions and they're able to place the decimal points in order from least to greatest or greatest to least, and there's a expo marker included so they're able to write on the folder. And now we move into my tiered activities, and the first activity is for below grade level. And what the students will do is they'll take these cards out of the bag, and each card has Velcro on it. They'll flip the page and place the cards that match on the Velcro. So one card will have the shell card will have an addition problem on it, and the craft card will have a answer on it for the decimal point problem. And when they find the match after doing the work, they'll place them on the sheet so that the problem will match the answer. My on grade level activity will include these little cards, and they'll have addition and subtraction problems on them, including an expo marker. So the students will be able to flip the page and they'll be able to do their work in these boxes to figure out the answers to the problem. And then once they figure them out, and there's an answer sheet so they can check their work. An above grade level game will include these little Santa erasers, which will be their bingo chips because it's a bingo game with an expo marker so they can practice their work. And what they'll do is this will be their bingo card. They'll spin spinner A and they'll spin spinner B, and they'll add up spinner A plus spinner B, and they'll look for the total on this game card, and when they find it, they'll place one of the Santa erasers on the spot that matches. And then I included an expo marker, so if they need to write on it to do out their math, they can. And then we move into the lesson plan and graphic organizer part of the project, and this is my graphic organizer, and inside there's a converting decimals point, and that's just a review tab, and along with place values. And then we have an adding part with the 10 by 10 grids and then the place value mats, along with a subtracting section with the same thing, the 10 by 10 grid and the place value mat. And then there's single step word problems and multi-step word problems showing the 10 by 10 grid and the place value mat for each of those. And then we'll move to how it relates to the SOL and what SOL I will use, and then how I will teach the graphic organizer. And then these are just the 10 by 10 grids that I used in the graphic organizer. And then we move to my lesson plan, and that includes the standards, the SOLs, and the children's literature book that I will include, which is Daisy Decimal's Decimal Disaster, and it will help relate decimals to the students. And then in the intro, I will give them a decimal song that will go over flipping fractions to convert them into decimal numbers, so they can have a refresher in their minds about how to do that. And then we move into how I will teach the lesson. And when I teach the lesson, I'm going to use the graphic organizer to kind of intermix, so that way they're able to fill it out and understand why the 10 by 10 graph is used and why the place value mat's used and how they can use that to help them. And then there will be a close and an evaluation, and then the big ideas. And then my guided practice just involves filling out the graphic organizer, the multi-step and single-step problems. They'll do that with a partner. And then for my independent practice, they're going to get a shopping list with 3 things on them with how much each of them would cost. And they'll shop for it out of this bag. And when they find it, they'll place their items in the shopping cart. And then they will get $3, and they have to total up how much money they will spend on their shopping cart. And then they'll subtract it from the $3 that I'm going to give them to pay for their items. And so they'll figure out how much their total is going to be and then how much change they'll get back. And when they're done with this, I will be the cashier, and they'll bring their work and their problem to me, and I'll check to make sure they were able to get the right answers. And that will just help with their ability to use a practical aspect to show that they are going to use adding and subtracting decimal numbers in the future. And then to end the lesson, they'll have an exit ticket where they'll demonstrate what we learned in class, and then they'll provide their favorite strategy, which one they like out of the 2. And then in the bottom, they'll place questions or comments that they have about the lesson and what they've learned so far, to see if there's anything else that they still have questions on or that they need help on, or to demonstrate how much they know. And then we move on to the intergrading lessons, and this one is the social studies. And in this lesson, the students are going to take these little things out of the bag, and they're going to place them onto the map. And what they are is a city where Richmond is and Lynchburg is on the map, including the Blue Ridge Mountains. And they'll answer these word problems, which will go over adding and subtracting the decimal numbers with the answers on the sheet. And then integrating science, the students will take out these planets and place them right here in order from their distance from the sun, which is over here on this side of the sheet if they need a refresher to figure out which one's furthest away from the sun. And I included the sun so they can place it first on their map to help them remember. And then on the bottom, there's word problems that they'll answer just to help working on adding and subtracting with the decimal numbers. And then we have the assessments. I have 2 formative assessments and 1 summative, and this page just gives you a brief description of what each of them are. And my first formative assessment is an exit ticket, and it's basically the same thing, which they'll practice demonstrating how to use a place value mat and a 10 by 10 chart. The second formative assessment is just going to be a group work activity. Well, they'll get in a group and create 2 addition and 2 subtraction problems, and then they'll also do an addition and subtraction word problem in their group, and they'll create them. And then for one of the word problems, they will actually solve the problem, and then their group will have one person who's going to present it to the class and just show, this is the word problem that we did, and here's the answer to the problem. But before they give the answers, the students will try and figure out if they can solve the word problem that their friends created in the class. And then for my summative assessment, I have them taking a little quiz with 4 questions where they'll figure out the answers. And then finally, my references. And that is my strand project. So thank you for watching.